I'm going to start reading from chapter 20 from the Green Ember. It's called Mysteries on the Mend. This one is a long one, so I'm going to do it in two parts. So this is part A. Heather was intrigued. How could it be so bright? She glanced at Pickett, who squinted at the shimmering light up what seemed like an endless number of stairs. He looked at his crutches, then doubtfully at Emma. Emma didn't know about Pickett's intense fear of heights, and Heather wasn't about to reveal anything that would embarrass him further. It's worth it, Pickett, Emma said, smiling. There's a rail. Let me have the crutches and just lean on the rail and hop up each step. There's only 100 or so. She snatched the crutches and, grabbing Heather's hand, pulled her into the stairwell. Heather rushed up with Emma while Pickett made slow progress behind them. She glanced back to be sure he was okay, and he nodded for her to go on. She did. About halfway up, she noticed there were large chains crisscrossed along the ceiling of the stairway. These all appeared to be tied together and ended near the top. She couldn't see what they were for. The bright light above was so alluring, she was too distracted to ask. As she reached the final few steps, she noticed that the light was more than just bright. It was filled with many colors. She saw blues and greens, oranges and reds, splashed along the top of the stairway like paint. When she crested the stairs, she gasped. Before her ran a short walkway of beautifully laid brick, almost as if the stairway continued, now level. The walkway split a sprawling garden bursting with bright flowers and small trees, but it was, Heather saw to her astonishment, indoors. Above them, as she and Emma walked slowly along the path, was a clean, clear glass ceiling, something she would have thought impossible. Sunlight descended in waves, covering the little garden walk with a faintly hazy glow. Ahead, she saw the source of the colors. It was an octagonal room, wood-framed, with a large glazed glass panel of every color. Above a dark brown door, a banner was mounted. It was a white field with two diamonds side by side. The left one was red, the right one was green. This was the same symbol she'd seen on Lord Rake's tunic. It must be his own coat of arms. The building was lovely. Somehow the sunlight erupted through the multicolored glass and into the garden walkway. She now saw that only some of the light came in from above. The octagon-shaped room was brimming with sunshine, casting magical images along the walkways and the gray-green stone walls. It washed over them, and they gazed at the shimmering garden of colorful light. Pickett joined them, his mouth gaping. Emma relished the wonder written on her friends' faces and was silent a long time. Finally, she spoke. "This is who we are here, Heather. You asked what it means to be heralds of the mended wood." "Yes, it means this," she said, motioning all around her. Heather listened closely, and Pickett, breathing hard, turned away from his amazed appreciation to attend to Emma. "And it means much more. Follow me." They kept to the path, but didn't go into the octagonal room with the glass panes bursting with light. "They're still working on Lighthall," Emma said. They heard sounds from within, a light hammering on what sounded like glass being cut. "Our best artists are getting it ready." "What's the name of this garden?" Heather asked. "Well, I'm not sure anyone's named it officially, but everyone calls it King Whitson's Garden, or King's Garden. You'll see why." They followed the path around tall trees and found that the walkway widened into a circular space featuring large statues on stone pedestals. The statues were of two rabbits, swords drawn, faces hard in action. Heather understood that this was why the garden was called King Whitson's Garden. There he was, his image captured in bronze, cape caught up in the wind, and sword held high. What a hero! She glanced at the other statue and walked on behind Emma. "Do we know what King Whitson Mariner looked like?" Heather asked. "I don't know," Emma said as they crossed under an archway leading to a large wooden door. A tall rabbit in green stood by the door, gripping a long spear. Maybe they just imagined it. Heather nodded. "Are there sculptors?" "Hey, where's Shuffler?" Emma interrupted. Heather looked back. He hadn't followed them. They walked back along the path, re-entering the statuary space, and there was Pickett, looking up at the statues with tears in his eye. "What is it, Pickett?" she asked. "It's him, Black Star," he whispered hoarsely. Is that story important to you, Pickett? Emma asked. Very. Father loved to tell it to us. I love to hear it. He was a real hero, Emma said, touching the statue's foot. They saw the black star patch on his shoulder, his place beside and in front of King Whitsun, his sword frozen in flight. He was brave, said Pickett. I always loved the tale of Whitsun and Settler the best, said Heather. Me too, said Emma. She was my favorite. It was always Black Star for me, said Pickett, even more than Whitsun Mariner himself. I knew I would never be a king, but I thought maybe. It feels like there couldn't ever be heroes like them again, said Heather. Those days are long gone. But King Jupiter reigned only a short time ago, said Emma. Everyone said his was truly the golden age of rabbit civilization. I know it wasn't so long ago, but it feels as distant to me as their day, Emma said, pointing to the statues. Let's go on, said Emma, moving along the path. I have more to show you. They rounded the curve again, seeing the stone archway and the guard in green before the door. When he saw Emma, he smiled and opened the door for her. Heather thought she noticed his expression change when he looked at Pickett and herself, but she wasn't sure. Heather noticed that he bore the double diamond emblem stitched onto the shoulder of his tunic. She and Pickett followed Emma through the door and down a long hallway, this one dark again, lit only by a few torches. Soon the hallway ended in a large round room with 3 large doors. This is called Hallway Round, said Emma. In the center of Hallway Round stood a large barrel of dark wood, hooped with bright brass clamping. Around the barrel paced 3 guards. All 3 bore the double diamond crest, and the same banner hung from the ceiling high above. 2 of the doors, the one to their left and the one straight ahead, were guarded, but the third one on the right wasn't. Where do these doors lead? Heather asked. I'll show you, said Emma, motioning them to follow, and smiling at another guard in green, led them through the door on their left. Heather squinted as Emma passed ahead of them into the sunlight. She followed carefully over the threshold and into a vision of green, gold, and white. The mist hung about the edges of the green hillside, lit with glittering sunlight. There was a surprisingly wide, mostly flat area, but this soon gave way to the ever-tilting hillside. Around the rim of the village green, the hillside slanted up into stony outcroppings, ending in the mountain peaks that showed around the ring of the Cloud Mountain. It looked like a broken bowl, with the green being the bowl's inside bottom. Heather saw row upon row of vegetables of every kind, cabbage and corn, potatoes and turnips. Her mouth watered, and she felt a little lightheaded. After the confining corridors of stone, it was unsettling to be out in the open like this. There were rabbits all over, working and talking. Young ones playing in groups dotted the hillsides, their laughter making Heather's heart ache for Jack's. Beyond the gardens, she saw a little village of wood and stone homes. Stone walls crisscrossed the ground. I've never seen a village, Pickett said as they crossed the flat grass along a row of hedges. Or this many rabbits at once, Heather said, smoothing her dress. It'd be almost frightening if everyone didn't look so friendly. Okay, I'm going to stop right there, and I will do chapter 20, part B in a little bit. Love you.